most of you in this room, but as a reminder, I'm Danielle Burmeister. That's spelled D-A-N-I-E-L-L-E, for the Adam Carroll fans in the room. The biggest thing going on in my life right now is that we are in the process of building a house and moving from our current house. When my husband and I bought our first home, we were still throwing every single dollar we had at student loan debt. Our goal was to pay it off in 5 years, and we made our last payment on $142,000 of debt 3 years or 3 months shy of our 5th anniversary. And we celebrated with the first bottle of champagne that we had bought since we got married, which was $20, and it felt like a big indulgence. With student loans behind us, we were finally able to make some improvements at our house. We hung cabinets in the laundry room, we planted trees and put in landscaping, we finished the basement, we put in new house numbers, all kinds of improvements that we finally had room to do. We bought an electric snowblower and then spent 3 winters shoveling our driveway before we upgraded to a gas snowblower that actually blows snow. For those first few years, Brian was actually teaching in Eastern Iowa and commuting on the weekends. Then in 2016, his campus closed and he finally got to move back home. That fall, he started teaching at Iowa State, where we had both met when we were graduate teaching assistants for Fundamentals of Public Speaking, or SpeechComm 212 for any of the ISU alum in the room. Brian still teaches up in their English department, mostly because he likes the summers, but also because he kind of likes the students. Around the time Brian moved home, I moved from event marketing for the Iowa State Fair into an entry-level marketing role for Homesteaders Life Company, a company here in West Des Moines that sells insurance policies to cover funeral expenses. I actually knew about Homesteaders from when I was growing up. My dad is a funeral director, and for most of my childhood, we lived in the apartment above the funeral home. My first pet, a caterpillar named Ella, is still buried next to the garage there. And yes, we did have a funeral. My dad gave me my first job washing cars and filling them with gas before each funeral. And my first day on the job, I drove in circles around the gas pump trying to figure out why the tank on the hearse kept moving. And then I misjudged the distance a little bit and ran the side of the hearse into the gas pump. I never did quite measure up to my dad's standards for clean cars, or dent-free cars, but I did officially become his favorite daughter when I gave him 2 grandsons. Our baby, Henry, is 7 months old, and he is a sweet and snuggly chunk of a baby barnacle who fortunately sleeps through the night, but unfortunately sees me more as a food source than a parent. Our oldest, Jack, turned 4 in August. He is bright and creative and funny, and as he will tell any of you in this room, he is best friends with the real Spider-Man. He loves going to the library with me, where I volunteer as chair of the events committee. Everyone told us that 2 kids would be more than double the work. And I remember at the time I was pregnant with Henry, I remember thinking that's not possible. I was in the middle of a very, very difficult pregnancy, and I thought surely nothing could be as hard as this has been. But, as my dad loves to say, they were right. 2 kids is a ton of work, especially since I came back from maternity leave into a new role as Vice President of Marketing for Homesteaders, and then I hired 2 new direct reports, and then a couple weeks later I started the West Des Moines Leadership Academy, and we're moving. So, as I look around this room, I know that every single one of us has a ton of things competing for our time and our energy, and each of us has laid the investment of time and adding one more thing on our plate to the return maybe we're going to get from the program, and every one of us has made the decision to be here. That doesn't mean that there aren't days when I need a little extra caffeine to get through the day, and it doesn't mean that honestly I would rather have bourbon in my coffee instead of almond milk. But it does give me hope that I'll look back on this tough season and say that it was all worthwhile. Cheers.